The fire's about to go out, so this may be our last ghost stories by the campfire. Tuesday, September 14th, nearly p.m. My leg feels worse tonight. I think it's the stress. There's a deep pain working its way up my back. Besides going to the bathroom, I haven't gotten out of bed all day. But I've calmed down. Writing everything out helped. It seems more like a story now. It feels better. I'm finding that dull, lingering pain is 10 times worse when it's accompanied by dull, lingering boredom. If not for my laptop, I'm pretty sure my parents would have already found me dead from a hopeless case of endless monotony. I can imagine it. Our little Ryan has died of boredom. We should have looked in on him more. Poor thing. So the laptop rests nicely on Big Bertha. My mom says a psychiatrist gave her some software that secretly tracks my browser history, emails, IMs, everything. It's nice that my mom told me this because the software isn't very hard to disable. Adults in general take a lot of comfort in these tools, but a 15-year-old who can't get around parental controls on a computer is probably also having trouble tying his shoes. It's just not that hard. Still, timing is important. I can't be searching for weird stuff or sending emails to Sarah without having at least a few minutes to cover my tracks. It takes time to erase what I've done, and it's too late if I've just sent an email and I hear my mom walking up the stairs. Not that I've sent Sarah any emails. I still don't know what to say. It's hard. Maybe too hard. To kill the boredom, I've been searching online for information about the dredge. Sarah and I have looked before and found almost nothing of interest. We searched for archive stories, blogs by people living in town, information about the crossbones, the Skeleton Creek Irregular, and a lot more. In every case, we discovered what felt like tiny shards or fragments of information, just enough to keep us going, but nothing really earth-shattering. I tried all those angles again today with the same meager results. After 3 hours of dead ends, I looked back through my notes and my eyes lit on the name of the company that had owned the dredge. New York Gold and Silver. I'd searched that term before, but not very aggressively. I went looking for them again, this time with more tenacity. New York Gold and Silver has been out of business for over 20 years, but one thing about bankruptcy I've found is that all of your records are open for viewing. I found a public file of the company records in a subsection of the City of New York Legal Archives, and within those files I discovered a mile marker, NYGS AMMINS, minutes, 80 through 85. I knew NYGS stood for New York Gold and Silver. When I double-clicked on the file, I saw that AMMINS stood for Annual Meeting Minutes, and that 80 through 85 meant 1980 through 1985. To categorize this document as boring would be way too kind. This was 127 pages of pure, undistilled drudgery. I skimmed the first 30 pages of PE ratios, cost-benefit analysis, plant closures, equity-to-debt ratios, subprime holdings, and a lot of other painfully tedious details of a once prosperous company. It wasn't until I was half asleep on page 31 that I realized I could search for terms I was interested in rather than read every single word. And that's when I found something on page 81 and something else on page 111 that made me nervous. I printed them out and I'm going to tape them here. NYGS AM Minutes, paragraph 3, page 81. The number 42 asset holding in Skeleton Creek, Oregon, encountered a series of break-ins during the period ending 12/81. Mentioned here due to injuries and subsequent lawsuit brought by local resident Mark Henderson. Claimant asserts he was attacked while searching the number 42 dredge on the night of 9/12/81, sustaining injuries to the head and neck, including a major concussion. Lawsuit settled out of court on 11/14/81. Legal department cited private property status in early low six-figure settlement. No information from local authorities is available on a possible suspect in the attack or if such suspect exists. Number 42 asset has been more adequately secured. Consider demolition or removal. Page 111. The number 42 asset holding in Skeleton Creek, Oregon, was entered by a private citizen during the period ending 1284. 3 juveniles claim to have visited the dredge repeatedly between 684 and 984. Court files indicate breaking and entering, destruction of private property, theft of tools, vandalism. One of the 3 juveniles, Jody Carlisle, claims that the 3 were told not to return by someone they heard but could not see. Legal department strongly advises removal or destruction of asset number 42. Approved. Demolition of asset 42 scheduled for 4/11/85. In the spring of 1985, New York Gold and Silver was served with environmental lawsuits from Oregon, Washington, Alaska, Montana, and Idaho. I guess they were too busy fending off enemies to take action on their agreement to demolish number 42. By June of 1985, the company was dissolved in a sea of debt and legal disputes. Things like the dredge and Skeleton Creek were forgotten as lawyers moved on to higher profile cases. There was no money to be made suing a dead company. It's almost 9 o'clock now. Mom and Dad will be in to say goodnight and check up on me. They'll want to check my computer. I know what I have to do. Sarah, this is going to be really quick. I have to cover my tracks before my mom checks in. I did some digging and found the minutes from New York Gold and Silver meetings in the 80s. I'm copying you on 2 paragraphs I found. See below. We're not the first ones to see something weird at the dredge. Every time someone gets close, they get hurt or scared off. Don't go back there. Let's just wait until my parents send me back to school so we can talk without having to be so secretive. That's what, maybe a month? We can figure things out when they can't stop us from seeing each other in the halls. Another thing, the New York Gold and Silver called the dredge the number 42 asset. That night when you recorded the accident, I heard something. It was a warning, the same as those other kids must have gotten. Number 42 is mine. Stay away from this place. I'm watching you. And I think I saw him. I think I saw old Joe Bush. Either that or I'm going crazy. God, I wish I wasn't writing this as the sun goes down. Write me back. Let me know you're okay, but don't do it until tomorrow morning. I'll read and delete. Don't do anything stupid. Ryan. P.S. Henry arrives Friday. Keep a lookout for him. I pasted the text from the meeting notes under my name and printed out the email, which was included above. I hope Sarah finds my email before her parents do. One thing I hate about writing in the digital age is that everything disappears eventually. It's like writing letters that evaporate into thin air as they're read, which is why I keep copies. Paper feels permanent. Time to clean up the mess before my parents come upstairs.